everybody, welcome back to Hot Rod's Recipes. I'm Rodney. Today I'm going to show you how to make a really cool dessert. I call it Cookie Chip Delight. Basically, you have a chocolate chip cookie layer topped with a layer of cream cheese, topped with a layer of pudding, and then whipped topping on top. Super easy to make. Guarantee you the whole family will love it. Ready? Let's get cooking. All right, so let's get started. So I let the cookie dough thaw out for about 15 to 20 minutes to make it a little bit more pliable. So the one I'm using is already cut into these small bits and pieces, but we're going to just press them into the bottom of this 9x13 ungreased 9x13 baking dish, and as they cook they will expand and it'll create a nice base. So let's get some of these cookies in here. Doesn't really matter right now because I'm going to press a lot of this down as much as I can. Alright, so let's get this situated a little bit here. Let's just go to town here on pressing it. As you know, it will expand and rise and all of that fun stuff. So you don't have to worry about this looking pretty. That's not the gist here. So let's get this done. Alright, so that looks okay. So now we're going to bake it in the oven, 350, and I'm going to check it probably around the 15-minute mark based on the last couple of times I've made this recipe. And here we go, fresh out of the oven. Doesn't that look great? Now the important thing here is before we move on to the next step, we got to let this cool completely before we start assembling the layers. So make sure you let it cool completely. Wire rack or on the top of your stove, whatever you're used to doing for cooling stuff. All right, now that the cookie base is cooling down, we can prepare our cream cheese filling that will go on top of the cookie base. So let's add a block of softened cream cheese. Always easier when it's soft if you've ever worked with cream cheese before. And now I'm going to add about a cup of powdered sugar. And we're going to give this a good mix. I'm going to take a second here and scrape the sides with a spatula to make sure that I get everything I need before adding the next ingredient. So that's looking pretty smooth. You want to beat it or mix it however you do it, by hand or with your hand mixer, until everything is smooth. Now with that part done, let's add some whipped topping. Maybe a little more here, why not? That looks good. Okay, so there we go, whipped topping, and now we are going to give it another mix. Right, that looks pretty good. Let's get our trusty spatula here. Okay, that's perfect. So now that we got this layer done, we're going to put it on top of the cookie base, but we want to wait until the cookie is cool. We don't want to melt it. So let's check on our cookie. All right, now that our cookie base is cool enough, we're going to put the cream cheese layer and spread it evenly over chocolate chip cookie. Let's get all of this out of a bowl here. Spread this evenly as much as you can. I don't bake often, I'm more of a cook, savory kind of guy, so I get a little sloppy when making desserts like this, as you can see. So, but the end result will be the same, even though I'm a little sloppy. All right, so with this done now, and coated with the cream cheese mixture, let's get a little bit more here, no waste here. Now it's time to make our pudding layer. All right, so got another bowl here. Let's add milk. There we go. Then I'm going to add a package of chocolate pudding and then a package of vanilla pudding. Now let's give this a quick mix. Take a break here and make sure that I scrape the sides a bit to get everything in here. Okay. And you guessed it, we're going to pour this on top of the previous layer. So now we are going to pour this over the top. I know some of you are probably thinking, hey, that looked way too thin to pour on top, but don't forget this is instant pudding, and instant pudding only takes a couple of minutes to set after you whip in the milk. So it's, see, a lot thicker than you might expect. So now let's just spread a generous layer, trying to cover all the cream cheese here. Okay, I'm happy with that for someone that doesn't bake as often as I do, or should. So now here's where you need to make a decision. You can put the rest of the whipped cream, or whipped topping, sorry, on top of this now, or sometimes I like to refrigerate this, just let it set just a little bit more, and then put on the whipped topping. So you do you. What we're going to do now is just put the whipped topping all over the top, and we're going to cover it, and then we need to refrigerate until everything's firm. So you're looking at possibly up to 8 hours. Okay, now it's time to wrap this up. So here we have our dessert ready, and I'm going to add the remaining whipped topping. Hopefully I have enough whipped topping. If not, well, we're going to live with it, because I'm not going to make this one again anytime soon. Too many other recipes to make. Okay, so now we got it here. Let's try to spread this out. My whipped topping is still a little too cool, as you can see. So it's a little challenging to spread, but as I work through this here, just room temperature, or the heat from my kitchen, because the oven was on when we baked the cookie, should loosen this up. pretty quickly. A little bit of the pudding is mixing in there, but no big deal. I mean, every bite will have each layer in it. And there you go. So now all we got to do is cover this and let it firm up. Like I said, I would check it around the 4-hour mark, but it could take up to 8 hours. We'll see on the other side. All right, here we go. Fresh out of the fridge. So now I'm gonna try my best here. Let's try here to dish this up. It's gonna be a little messy, but okay, finally got it in the plate. And now let's take a bite. As you can see, I've already cut off a piece here. Not the easiest thing to plate, but look at that. If you enjoyed this recipe, I would really appreciate if you hit the like and the subscribe button. It really helps us out. Thanks for watching.